the 26th of August 2022. Welcome to your daily Kickstarter. This is Smart Means Business. How are you doing? Hope you're okay. And I hope that this week has been another blessed one for you and for all those who have been trying out hard to ensure that they earn a living. I do hope that at least by the end of today, things will have changed, or by the end of tomorrow, better yet, you would have received some huge results in regards to how your business is flowing. It is time for us to head into the news review from the papers, that is with the New Vision and the Daily Monitor, as we start off with the press review this morning. Now, the Daily Monitor is saying that the DFCU Bank has recorded growth in revenues and fall in profits. So, according to the Daily Monitor, DFCU recorded a substantial increase in revenue for the 6 months, which ended in June. And according to the intern report for the first half of 2022, DFCU revenues increased to 187.39 billion shillings from 177.33 billion shillings, which signifies healthier revenue position compared to the same period, which was last year. Now, during the period, operating expenses remained flat at 85.1 billion shillings, while operating income before impairment improved to 100.69 billion shillings from 63 billion shillings. Customer deposits increased from 2.3 trillion shillings in the same period in 2021 to 2.4 trillion shillings, while loans and advances dropped to 1.3 trillion shillings from 1.6 trillion shillings in 2021. So this and more of this report regarding the DFCU can be through the Daily Monitor today. Now, on the other hand, still with the Daily Monitor, 64.5% of alcohol on market is illegal, according to a report that has been released. This is according to the Euromonitor illicit alcohol trade report, which revealed that only 35.5% of alcohol, which translates to 543,331 litres, are legal. Now, the unregulated alcohol, according to Ecomoloit, despite the government banning circuit spirits in 2019 as a way to eliminate unregulated alcohol from the market, Uganda remains a hotspot for trade and consumption of illicit alcohol, since manufacturers have now shifted to packaging such drinks in petty bottles, as well as recycled mineral water bottles and other types of packaging that are sold openly countrywide. Now, yesterday, the Uganda National Bureau of Standards released a report regarding the death of 17 consumers who died after taking the City 5 gin. That particular one was found to be having a different substance away from that, which is supposed to be in Warrage or gin. So these are some of the things that is actually on the market. So you need to be very cautious as you're consuming more so these particular alcoholic drinks, because you never know. Some of them seem to be more poisonous. As you are heading into the weekend, these are some of the things that you should pay very huge cautious on. Now, also still with the Daily Monitor, Umeme Baroda, that is the Bank of Baroda, dominate trading at the Uganda Securities Exchange. These Umeme shares were the most traded on the Uganda Securities Exchange in the second quarter of 2022. Now, during the period, Uganda Securities Exchange report indicates that Umeme traded 37.6 million shares, taking 37.53% of the volume of shares sold, while the company's share price also slightly improved. Now, on the other hand, Umeme also recorded the largest share of turnover, contributing 8.9 billion shillings, which accounted for 66.63% of the total turnover. Now, during the period, Uganda Securities Exchange reported Bank of Baroda closely followed Umeme as selling a total of 28.9 million shares, which accounted for 15.69% of the total turnover in that report. Now, also, big headline here is with the Daily Monitor still celebrating General Eli Tumwine. More of his biography in here as well. Now, we head to the New Vision as we're summing up with the press review. Now, the New Vision brings in the Asian expulsion. Lord Papati's accountants. This is the Asian expulsion series. Well, yesterday marked 50 years since the Asians were expelled by the then president of Uganda, Idi Amin Dada, in 1972. He was after apparently getting a dream that he was supposed to expel the Asian traders, who were the majority of the business people who are actually running the entire economy. So most of the key sector players of Uganda's economy by that time were the Asian people. Now, also the new vision, NSSF leads in digital revolution. This comes with the fact that there is a lot of digitization at the NSSF headquarters, and also this has left a number of employees left with no job, simply because of this digitalization, where computers have been used now to replace these particular people. The other story is Uganda finds investments in roads from East Africa. The government will also accord them a 10-year tax break. This is according to the investors that will be coming into Uganda. That is a 10-year tax break, the tax holiday of 10 years that is normally given to foreign investors. Lastly, with the new vision, insurance quota shows 18% of growth. Now, this is Uganda's insurance sector, which has grown by 18.5% to 712 billion shillings in quarter 2. That is April, May, and June of 2022, compared to 600 billion shillings gross written premiums posted in the corresponding period last year. Now, in between the lines here, the impact of inflation has been weaker. Domestic consumption due to tighter financial conditions, but in place to curb inflationary pressures, this has reduced disposable incomes as well. And they have it with more from the SMB Press Review. Now we head to the international news. All right, now from the perspective of international news, we start with the East African Community Services sector, as matters regarding East African communities service exports hit $12.9 billion US. A report shows that the East African Community, ESC, exported services worth $12.9 billion in 2019 against $933.6 billion worth of these particular imports. Now, the outbreak of COVID-19 and its resultant impact on trade, notwithstanding, trade in services has contributed immensely to the region is recovering. This was revealed by the East African Business Council Executive Director John Bosco Kalisa during a high-level business dinner. Now, on the other hand, during the event, he briefed the business leaders in Arusha on the recently launched study on trade in services in the region. Now, the barometer on East African trade in services was intended to gauge the growth of the service sector in the East African community economies. It was developed by the East African the East African Business Council, an apex body of private sector associations in the region based here, with the support from German aid agency, that is GIZ, and then Trade in Services manifest in the sale and delivery of an intangible product called a service between a producer and a consumer. Now, the services account for 54% of Africa's gross domestic product and slightly below half of the GDP in East Africa and the other neighboring East African countries. Now, the barometer on East African trade in services was intended to gauge growth of the service sector in the East African community economies. Now, also briefly, during this period, the leaders were briefed in Arusha on the recently launched study on trade in services in the region, because when you look at these official figures as of 2019 reveal that the export of services, that is the service sector, hit $12.9 billion in the East African community. So that is one way that you can definitely look at and clearly see that the EAC bloc is benefiting and showing steady signs of growth and development, as well as sustainability of ensuring that partly everybody who's actually taking part in the value chain is beneficial to the same matter. Now, that is it from the East African community. As now, this time around, we head to the eastern part of Uganda, still in the East African community though, as we look at Kenya's ban on second-hand vehicles. Now, the United Kingdom has protested Kenya's ban on the second-hand buses as well as that on the trucks. The United Kingdom protested Kenya's impending ban on second-hand imports of buses and the trucks, fearing that the embargo will cut the flow of used commercial vehicles from the European country. Betty Maina, who's the Industrialization and Trade Secretary, says that the United Kingdom authorities are quite uncomfortable with the sanction on used vehicles, which was set to take effect from July 1st before it was frozen in court. Now, an escalation of the differences between Kenya and Britain could affect the flow of goods between the two nations. Kenya and Britain inked a fresh trade deal in December 2020 following duty-free access of Kenyan goods to the UK market and avoid a post-Brexit disruption. The protest will be handled by the Kenyan United Kingdom Economic Partnership Agreement, that is the EPA Council. That is according to Betty Maina. The EPA Council is made up of ministerial representatives from both countries, that is Kenya and the United Kingdom, and it is tasked with ensuring smooth implementation of trade deals which came into force in 2021, including ironing out trade disputes amongst the two countries. Now, the Kenya Bureau of Standards in April issued a notice freezing importation of used vehicles more than 7 meters in length from July 2022. Trucks with load capacities of 3.5 tons and above were also banned, as imports of tractor heads and prime movers not older than 3 years were allowed access until June of 2023, after which only units were to be allowed into Kenya. Now, the notice was, however, suspended by Justice Oscar Angote of the Environment and Land Court in early July. This is also pending the determination of a petition by activist Okiya Omatata, now Senator-elect for Busia County in the just concluded Kenyan elections. The United Kingdom largely manufactures Leyland trucks, but a considerable number of second-hand Ford and Fiat of Italy, prime mover trucks and Caterpillar construction and mining equipment are shipped into Kenya from the United Kingdom, as you can see it from that perspective. Now, trucks with load capacities of 3.5 tons and above were also banned, as imports of tractor heads and prime movers not older than 3 years were allowed access until June of 2023, after which only new units were to be allowed into Kenya. Now, this notice was, however, suspended by Justice Oscar Angote of the Environmental and Land Court in early July, pending the determination of a petition by activist Okiya Omatata, now Senator-elect for Busia County. So the Kenya Bureau of Statistics in April issued a notice freezing importation of used vehicles more than 7 meters in length from the month of July this very year. And away from Kenya's ban of imported cars from the United Kingdom, we head to the United States as we look at the debt crisis in the States. President Joe Biden's administration is set to cancel at least $10,000 in student loan debt. The president did say that loan forgiveness will help families that need it most amid debt crisis in the United States. The U.S. President Joe Biden has announced his government will forgive at least $10,000 in student loans for many debt-landed university graduates in the United States, in a move that progressive activists and lawmakers welcome, but said does not go far enough. In a tweet on Wednesday morning, Biden said students who received federal Pell Grants for lower-income families would get $20,000 in debt forgiveness, while those who did not would get $10,000. The relief only applies to those earning less than $125,000 annually, he revealed. He said his administration, which also extended a freeze on student loan repayments through the end of the year, hopes to provide more breathing room for people burdened by their debt. When this happens, the whole economy is better off than, as Biden revealed to the reporters. Now, members of Biden's own Democratic Party have pushed him to forgive as much as $50,000 per borrower, that is $50,000 per borrower, arguing that the debt makes it impossible for young Americans to save for down payments on a home or other big consumer purchases. Now, that is something coming in from there. Now, when you look at the loan, the student loans that have always been given out to students, they've been very important and playing a pivotal role in ensuring that the students successfully complete college and university. Now, this time around, Joe Biden has forgiven families that have been having a debt with the United States government, $10,000 of loans to students. This is to help the struggling families in debt crisis in the country, and it's something that you could see what other governments are doing for their people. And right now, that brings us to the end of our SMB International News. This time is time for motivation as we start with our business tip of the day. The business tip: hire the right people. Before you can even think about your company's growth trajectory, you need to have a solid staff to help you achieve your goals. Hiring the absolute best people you can is a surefire way to ensure fast growth. This is according to Christian Lang, the CEO and co-founder of business software provider TreadShift, and he says it's all about having the right team. And if you were to look at it, hiring the right people, before you can ever think about your company's growth trajectory, you need to have a solid staff to help you achieve your goals. Hiring the absolute best people you can is a surefire way to ensure fast growth. And Christian Lang, the CEO and co-founder of business software provider TreadShift, says that it's all about having the right team. And in the long journey, if you're to look at this, by the way, if you do not have the right people around you, it will be very difficult for your businesses to grow. You need to have a team that speaks volumes and a team that is moving on the same trail as you are. A team that moves at the same pace as you. That means your pace needs to be very fast, you as a business owner or as the team leader, because it is you they are supposed to follow. As a business leader, you're supposed to provide solutions, and these people are supposed to implement these solutions. As a business leader, there are quite a number of things that you're supposed to do at the end of the day. You need to make sure that you set the pace for the people to follow. People are supposed to follow your ways. People are supposed to follow you step by step. People are supposed to ensure that whatever you do is a success to them, but also in a long journey, you need to make sure that people have to make sure that they follow you as things go by. And exactly at the time when we feel that it is how things happen in the way, but we need to also understand that life gives us many opportunities, and which opportunities can only be fostered if at all we have the rightful connections or the rightful network or the people around us and the atmosphere or the environment we're doing this around. So it's supposed to be that team that is supposed to put you back on track once you're failing out, or it is supposed to be that same team that is supposed to help you out once things are not moving on well with your business. And that is what this tip is telling us. Hire the rightful team if you are an employer, and if at all you are a team leader, this right team will definitely help you out, and it will be of huge importance for you when it comes to that. All right, away from that particular story, rather away from that particular tip, let's have a look at our business quote this morning. Kyle Braga, founder of Frost and co-founder of Exposure, says get a mentor in the applicable field if you are at all unsure of what you are looking for. Get a mentor in the applicable field if you are at all unsure of what you are looking for. Yes, we all have people that we look forward to working with in most cases, or we all have people that we look at in most times. Sometimes these people may be doing the same thing as you're doing, or even doing something different, but there are certain things that you emulate from them and you want to at least implement them into your life, which is very okay. Some are called the role models, others are called inspirationals. So at the end of it all, these people who inspire you, or these role models of yours, should be the same people that you look up to and check yourself if you are moving in the same track as they are. If at all the track they are moving on is not the rightful one, you learn from their challenges. Now, these particular challenges are giving you lessons unto which you're going to be a better person, and you'll definitely be rebranding yourself as an individual. So looking at it in this way, learn to at least understand that life is giving us all these in a scope of a few things, but then either way, better yet, you can become the best version of yourself every day that you keep on trying. So with this one, give yourself room to get someone who's doing the same thing as you're doing, or a role model in the same field of something you're doing, and you will see that at the end of the day, answers will be pursued, and you'll definitely be getting a role model who will be inspiring you, and you will see some growth, trust me. And that is it for the motivation and inspiration this morning as well. And it does bring us to the end of our first hour of your daily Kickstarter. This is Smart Means Business. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. Well, you can get us more onto our social media platforms. Twitter is Smart24TV, Facebook Smart24TV Official, Instagram is Smart24_TV. Well, the website is www.smart24.tv, as well as our YouTube channel Smart24TV, as we are streaming live. Please remember to subscribe as well. Let me first head into a break, but I'll be returning back with more in regards to the Coffee Court discussions.